Hi guys, Andy and Spoken Label back in the house on a Tuesday evening. We're over to one of my favourite areas in the world today because I grew up round here over to Cholton. We've got a wonderful writer with me, and I think the young lady is definitely a lane to watch over the next year or two because I think she's really got something. Now, she wouldn't know this, but I remember it when she contacted me by email, and for our night of Cockle and Mandarin Tea Speak Easy, and do get a lot of people that contacting us. But she came in and she charmed me immediately when she'd been on the reserve list. And I remember telling Amanda and I don't think Steve were there that night. Said we'll have to give her a chance because she's the first time I think she'd ever read anywhere for us, and she blew me away. And then Amanda takes pictures of everybody, and Amanda told me afterwards she almost forgot to take a picture of her. And Hannah, you want to make you laugh now. Amanda remembered when you were on the last line of the poem, your second piece that night. So we've got the fantastic Hannah Ahle with us today. Now, Hannah's, I said, from my area, Cholton. So, Hannah, to begin with, tell people a little bit about yourself. Where did all your creativity come from?
Well, so like I said, like you said, I'm from Chorlton, and I'm from quite a big family, and like I used to spend quite a lot of time when I was younger, just making things, like writing and making things, like embroidering and
Oh, wow.
and sewing and things as well. Yeah, just being
Brilliant.
quite crafty, and I was always really good at English literature, and like I read a lot when I was younger. Then it kind of stopped a bit, like as I grew more into adulthood. But I always was naturally good at English literature, even though I pursued sciences like academically.
Mm,
But I never really studied poetry or anything
mm.
like that. It was just something that was naturally in me from quite a young age that I didn't really appreciate about myself until later in life.
Right. So, tell people next. Obviously, I know about why this happened, but tell people what made you appreciate your writing more when you got a bit older. Then.
So I started running again when it was 2011, and then through injury I took up yoga in 2012,
Mm.
and it was through being on my yoga mat and like meditating and like practicing asana that I after kind of connecting with myself in that way, poems just used to come, like they used to just
Oh,
come
brilliant!
out
That's
of me.
fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
so that was really how I kind of first became aware
Mm.
that there was something
Oh,
there, but I
brilliant.
still didn't
Brilliant.
take it seriously at that point.
No, I don't think you do. Sometimes it's
No, I
yeah, you
still
don't
wasn't
like.
listening.
Oh, you don't. It comes when it's ready. I think sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it was my case was, and I came diabetic 11 years ago myself. I've been writing all my life, and it needed that health shake up to make me realise to start thinking about what I was doing more. And I'm guessing it's the
Yeah.
same for you then, really, as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So then I just started writing in bits, bits used to come like over the years. And then it kind of picked up a bit more in like 2016, 17, um, and like 18, 19. But then it was really from the pandemic and through being in isolation. So I'm a runner, like I've run marathons, I fell
Oh
run, or I haven't
wow,
done that in
wow.
recent years, but kind of
Yeah, yeah.
COVID kiboshed everything that I used to do that involved like going outdoors. Um, and then it kind of forced me to write more. So being in isolation and being on my own actually forced more writing out of me, and
Oh wow.
also illustrations as well.
Oh, blimey, good. Your
Yeah.
emphasis on, I tell everybody this when people, I do podcasts with people. We've met twice now, Hannah, and I thought you were brilliant, loved you to bits, and you're great. I didn't know first of all you'd done running, didn't know you'd done illustrations either. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Tell you, before we go into your poetry, tell us about your illustrations then. So I didn't know about this.
Yeah. So basically, I realized that I had quite a lot of um pieces of work, like poems,
Mm,
that to make up a collection or a few collections. I've got quite a lot of poems really, that I've kind of built up over the years. And then
mm,
I got the flu at Christmas, like quite badly, and
mm.
then it left me in bed. And then I've since got chronic fatigue, and it was through being ill in bed really that I needed something to do. that I started like illustrating on my
Oh
phone.
wow, wow. Yeah, I'd love to see these sometime, definitely. So you can show me some of these another time, definitely. So
Yeah.
now obviously, I know from reading up about you already, I know you've been saying already you originally were a closet poet in your own words.
Yeah.
What made you then want to go out to I know first of all you've been doing stuff on Instagram, haven't you, and like video feeds. Then tell us about what made you want to go to that, and then obviously to the live stage.
Yeah. So I'm an NHS manager. I've been doing that for 14 years. And
I'm not going to give your age away, but I know you told me your age last week. I was like, it stunned me. You definitely don't look it, right?
Yeah, so I've been an NHS manager pretty much straight out of uni, so people can guess my age. And
Yeah, we'll say no more there, right?
and then and then it was basically like in COVID times, it got quite hard actually. Like I was feeling quite um helpless, and like I didn't really have a voice, or I didn't really have um kind of, I just felt a bit powerless in a sense.
Mm.
And then I decided that um I suppose that my poems were worth sharing, and that it was time to just stop keeping them all to myself. And it was at the end of each day, I kind of
Mm.
look forward to like reciting before I commuted home.
Ah, brilliant,
So I'd do a
brilliant.
recital, and like
Mm.
they're quite awkward to watch now, like my early videos that I used to post
Oh,
like one a
fantastic.
day to Instagram. And they'd mostly be my work, but sometimes I'd recite other people's poems if I wanted a break from my own work. Um, and I should get back to that really. It's really it's a good thing to do.
Very good discipline to do. But people are wondering, obviously,
Yeah,
this sort of
yeah,
world nowadays, I agree, because I should do more like that, but I don't. So,
yeah.
but was it
And so
whose other poems did you enjoy then during this stage? Then
oh
can you
um
remember that far back?
I'm sure I read like Rumi's some of Rumi's works at one
Mm.
point, and like Mahmoud Darwish, which is he's a Palestinian poet.
Mm.
Um, I want to say Sylvia Plath, but I'm not sure. Like
Yeah,
I'm really not sure.
yeah.
Um,
I think.
sometimes I'd do something random, like and just pick a random book off my bookshelf and just like open a random page, and that would be the poem
Oh wow,
that I
yeah,
would
that's
read.
wow.
So I can't
It's
remember. It was just be
brilliant.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah, surprise yourself then, don't yourself. Now, I think it's worth mentioning, obviously, about your background as a person, 'cause you
Yeah.
touched on that in the last bit. So, obviously, I don't know if your family's all from Palestinian, but I know it's at least partly Palestinian, isn't it? So,
Yeah, so all my family's from Gaza in Palestine, yeah.
yeah, and obviously,
So
that obviously would have impacted you on your upbringing and your writing, I reckon, and your reading as well.
yeah, I do think um because obviously like in Palestinian culture, like we're an indigenous people, and there's quite a lot of folk traditions within Palestinian culture, and poetry writing is very foundational, isn't it, to all walks of life and kind of to humanity really. And I suppose it's in me, but I didn't really know until I didn't really
Oh,
appreciate that. Like I just think poetry is a part of Palestinian culture, and it's part of Palestinian resistance as well, like through freedom of expression and through art.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you straight away. It is. I like it. I think it's probably took you till like you said the age you got now when you've realised yourself, haven't you? So, what
Yeah,
way you want to go with it. And I think it's a brave move to be honest with you, like I said with it straight away, because like it I know from obviously talking to you already about your work, I know already you're out on a little tour, aren't you? In I think it's December if my memory is correct. So the We Are Not
yeah,
Numbers Christmas tour. So tell us about that then.
yeah. So when I first started reciting to live audiences, I started reciting with Palestinian um like resistance group events, and like with for at charity events.
Mm,
And at one of those so I did took part in the big ride for Palestine in the summer, and then I met some lovely people from the Amos Trust on that charity ride, and they invited me
Ah,
to be on the tour in the summertime, and that was like in July. And I was like quite taken aback really, because I'd only really started reciting to live audiences. It'd only been like a couple of months. It wasn't long at all. Um, and that was kind of, so it was at that event really that I got started to see the impact of my words on other people, and when
oh,
people really
wow.
started expressing like how they felt when they heard my words, and like how it impacted them and how they could relate to it in their own lives. And so
Oh, wow.
even though I was like I'm like obviously excited, I'm nervous to be involved. It's and there's such lovely people at the Amos Trust. Like I'm really excited to be doing it with them. I was like like I can't believe this almost. Like so yeah, so that's how it came about. And the tour is on
Wow.
at the end of November. The first I'm so happy that it's the first stop. The first stop on the tour is Manchester. It's in Wally
Well, this
Range.
podcast will be out just before that, and I promise you that now, because I want to encourage people to go and watch it, because like it's I love the fact where you want to do how do you actually know what you're going to be reading for this set yet and for this yet, or
um
is it still sorting it out?
I've got like a selection of poems that kind of are up to 20 minutes, but
Oh,
each set will be
fantastic.
10 to 15. So I can vary it each night. So so I can maybe do a sample of some of the poems that I might do.
Please
Um
doing this. Please doing it in a few minutes when we get the
in the
second half.
yeah, when we
Yeah.
get to the later bit, yeah.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
the first stop's on the 25th of November. It's in Wally Range in St Margaret's Church. And there'll be at each stop there'll be a selection of local artists as well, as part of the ensemble, and there'll be carols and all sorts of lovely Christmassy things.
Oh, fantastic with that. So, and obviously you're on every date on the tour, then, aren't you? I can see it from here. So, oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Like, is this obviously I know you've read for us twice in Speakeasy. Is this going to be your what next third major reading? Is it really in person? Have we done many other live ones?
No, no, I have
Oh,
read. I've done a few
wow.
quite a few. So I've read at the Poetry Place before,
Mm.
and at Natter in Bolton,
Yeah. No matter.
and where else? Oh, there was a new night called Sensual Sundays that I read at recently,
Oh
and
yeah,
that was
yeah.
it's a night about with all like love poems and
Brilliant,
like quite
brilliant.
sensual material. Yeah, so that.
Well, I'm not asking any more details there in that one. You'll make
Yeah.
me blush, right? This old man blush, right? Oh,
Yeah, so I
fantastic.
read at that and I can't think now. Oh no, how can I forget? I've read, so my first how could I forget this? Saying are just amazing. I don't know if you know Say in
I've
Manchester.
not been to, I know it, yeah, certainly. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just such a lovable, like organized chaos bunch. Like
Oh, best way to be,
but that
right?
was the
Best.
first place I read at that wasn't a Palestinian like resistance event or like a charity event or like a commemoration type
Oh,
event.
fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
through saying I actually read at a couple of festivals as well.
Oh, but it's Canada's got like that, and it's straight up in the air for you.
Yeah, so and this is why I keep saying like I think I was just blind to it. Like I didn't take myself seriously, like in a lot of ways, really. And so like you asked me before, which I didn't really quite answer, like what
Mm,
made me want to actually recite,
mm.
and it was the realization that like without my poems being received by anyone, that they were they would never be finished.
Yeah. I think the poetry is a spoken word language, really. And I
Yeah.
think but there are some pieces that obviously I don't think need to be read in person, but there's a lot that takes it back to the way it was thousands of years of storytelling. And
Yeah.
your pieces are certainly like that. The stories in poetry,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful to hear they are, certainly so on
Thank you
that one.
so much. Thank you. That's so kind of you to say. And and then the other thing was so when I was ill earlier in the year, like in bed a lot, I thought to myself, I can't die with all of this. Like It was just
Oh
as simple
no.
as that. Like, and then when I had that realization, and I know I'm laughing about it now, it's kind of a good thing, but
If you don't like,
um,
don't laugh, you cry. So
I know,
laugh
yeah.
away.
It was like it was when I had that realization that I thought, yeah, actually, why not publish my work? Like, why is it not worth publishing? Because that was the question, really. Like, and it is worth publishing. And it was only really this year that I thought that seriously about it.
Yeah, I think you need something like a shock to your system to make you think about that.
Yeah.
And I think you've definitely done the right move with it, certainly with that. So, like, do you have any ideas where you'd like your work to take you next year, for example?
Um, well, hopefully I'll be a published author next year.
Oh, so what are you doing? Are you looking at bringing a book out next year then, I'm presuming, aren't you? Or a
Yeah, well,
pamphlet?
I've got enough material for about 5 books.
Oh, well,
Obviously,
that doesn't
not
surprise me, right?
like not all of it obviously is going to make it, but I've been writing so long that it's like it's actually overwhelming me to go back to it all now, and
Oh
actually,
yeah.
actually, because it's not. I think it would be easier if I didn't have as much to go through.
God. I bet you're as bad as me because like I've got all my poems in little A5 hardback books. And you think like, well, I'm 50, so I don't mind admitting that. And I've been writing since I was 10. And I've got about 60 odd books. So it's like it's a nightmare when I'm trying to sort books out, to be honest, because I've done a few self-published ones now. And you're probably in a similar situation with 12 years
Yeah,
of archive to go through. Oh my God.
yeah, and so really, it's kind of it's mostly the stuff from like 2016-ish. Well, I've got a bit from like between 2012 and
Hmm.
2014, 2016, but then really I started to write more from that time. And then um yeah, so I suppose it's like, and also because my writing is a spiritual practice, like a lot the poems just come
Hmm.
to me, like I don't like give myself a deadline or anything like that. They just come, and then I have to capture it in a sometimes on a napkin, or capture the messages like wherever I can. Luckily, I've got notes on my phone, so like I have that handy a lot of
What
the time.
do you leave your phone on turned on overnight, do you, in case you wake up at half 3 thinking,
Yeah,
must
yeah.
write, must write?
Yeah, that's basically because
Oh,
sometimes I do get woken up in the night, and then something comes to me like that, and I have to just write it down. And then sometimes it grows into something else, and sometimes that's just the message. And like
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
the time, I read it back, and I know that it's not me. Like a lot of I think that's not me, but the message has come through me. And so my writing is really like a spiritual practice for me, and it's been something that has actually like it is part of my relationship with God. It is part of that. Like it is something that connects me to a higher force.
Yeah, yeah, no, straight
Uh,
away, because like that'd be like come from your background anyway. But also, the fact
yeah,
is, like it's what comes natural to you as a writer.
yeah.
You know, agree with you
and
completely.
and so I think I'm always gonna be writing because um it just comes when it comes. So next year that'll still continue. But the challenge for me is to kind of, so I've kind of I'm learning as I go, obviously. And like with
Yeah,
this
yeah, of
year,
course.
with going on stage, and like kind of part of part of the way that I'm trying to organize what to publish is actually through choosing what to recite and like editing for that. And so I think I've got some of that to do next year, really, before I publish. But hopefully, yeah, next year I'll be a published author. And
Well, fingers crossed, definitely with it. So yeah, no, definitely.
yeah,
It's I think the hardest thing when you're trying to sort of book out is it's even harder in the set sometimes because you've got to try and get the order right. You're looking at the page afterwards and not thinking, oh, after why did I do like that way? Yeah. No, good luck with it, definitely with that. So all the best. Keep us
um,
informed, definitely with that one. So
yeah.
definitely now. I want to wrap up this point now, Hannah, because I want to give you a chance to do a bit of reading for us because we're looking at, I know tonight people won't know you've got to go at a certain time tonight. So I want to make sure you're on the way to your next meeting, basically. So what we'll do is we'll wrap up this point now. But I want to ask you before you go, if people want to find out more about you, where do they go?
So I'm at Hannah Ahle HANNAHAHLE on Instagram.
And you've also just told me you've got a YouTube channel set up
Yeah,
as
but
well,
I've
haven't
only
you?
just set that up, so I'm hoping to like post more to that, and hopefully I've got like a website coming soon as well. That's not ready yet, so at the
Brilliant.
moment can check my stuff out on Instagram currently.
Brilliant. Now,
And come to the
obviously,
Amos Trust tour.
yes, that's on. People are wondering, so that's on top of your actual Instagram channel. I can see the link there straight away with it. So definitely go to it, watch it. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to attempt to get down there for you on the Friday the 25th of November show, certainly. So I will
Thank you
definitely
so much.
do my best at that one. I promise you. So, but anyway, listen, let's wrap up. Okay, we'll let you get compared to read a few pieces for us. So good luck, Hannah, in the future. Keep in touch.
Thank you.
I'll see you all in a minute, guys.